GoMovieTalks. Hello. Welcome one more time to Go Movie Talks. Freddy, episode 4.
Here we are rolling in the deep. That was not the rolling that I wanted to say, but that's the one that came to mind. So
At least in the middle of all this world crisis, we continue talking about movies. And today we have a very special movie to talk about. What is it, Freddy?
Skins. It's a
Skins.
Spanish film. I wouldn't say upcoming director. He's somewhat well known in Spain. But I think this was his first release in Netflix. And
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and very interestingly, I found out about this film through my mother-in-law. That was completely unexpected to me. That is, I was not expecting it. And don't get me wrong, I actually really enjoyed the movie. But out of the 10 movies we proposed to start this project with, I did not choose it. So today I want to hear from that person because I really love the movie. It's a very special, uh, but it clearly was not on my top. So I want to hear from the lady who actually put it up there. What makes this movie so special, Maria Laura?
Well, first of all, that's not the type of movies I would expect mothers-in-law talked about.
Oh, never. Yeah, no. But again, it goes to show how again movies are for anybody who watches them.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
let's face it, in this streaming era, you get just recommendations and it's just a click away. So that's
Exactly.
most likely how
Yes.
she ended up watching this.
Yes. All right. All right. Well, second of all, because I consider that any arts genre that there's portraying the most intricate realities of our body, our physical appearance, our behavior regarding that, it's interesting. Okay? First of all, because we are, every day highly bombarded with everything regarding skincare, taking care of, your hair, your skin, your body, your eyes, your absolutely everything. You have to take care of absolutely everything, okay? Because that's what actually you can see portrayed in media, I mean, at every communication channel. But when you find a piece like this that first of all, slaps you on the face with a question. I mean, from the very beginning, the first 10 minutes are actually one of the most disturbing at movies I've seen. You see? And the best thing about that is that disturbing feeling doesn't end. It goes in crescendo throughout the whole movie, okay? So if you do that as a director and you keep it so firm, so, well established, the fact that you want to make people feel uncomfortable with this, baby, you got it. As simple as that. That's the reason why I love this movie this much. And, you know, it's kind of, I mean, for anybody, including people like you, people like me, it's at the beginning, it's like the movie itself questions you how, with the reasons why you feel this is grotesque, this is monstrous. Okay. So,
I,
and
I
then you
think it
start,
plays I think it plays very well with how society in general
of course.
perceive certain parts of a body in a certain way. So that's pretty much the thesis around all of this. How I mean, you made a good point about taking care of it and whatnot, but most specifically, I think he really narrows it down to the taboo around certain parts of the body, and it's not the same taboo. That's the other thing. It different parts of the body make or you're expected to react in a different way to different parts of the body.
Mm-hmm.
So it plays with that, and I don't know. In general, it's just overall refreshing just to see different different parts of the body being treated differently, and also the fact that it's not so much the part of the body, but also where they're placed.
Yeah.
So it is hilarious because I mean I will make this is a comparison. Um, okay, a mustache.
Uh, For
So
example.
in society, it is pretty accepted, specifically for men, because if
Exactly.
first if a female has and
And
again
and
female body
between your upper lip and your nose
exact,
specifically.
exactly. Because no, and I'm clarifying not just any female, but again, it doesn't really matter how you identify, but your genes. if
Exactly.
if the genes if you present yourself as female and you have a mustache, that is a no per societal standards. So
Exactly. And there's where I come. It's very delicate to talk about this movie, particularly here in this
okay,
show,
but
because
hold on that for the viewers, remember we're a, a little background because we're talking about this but we're not actually giving them some good insight on the movie. uh
Freddy, we spoiled the movie, so go ahead, say
exactly, that's the whole point.
it.
So imagine having uh another hole of the body instead of the mouth, another hole where I'm gonna say where feces comes out of. Uh, you already know what hole I'm talking about. And imagine the hair that regularly grows in that part of the body, right here, being used as your mustache. That is, again, look at my reaction, and that's also important. I found it funny. I don't find it disgusting. Probably because I'm male, I'm hairy, so yes, I'm probably used to it. But for and it depends also on which societies you're talking about, because I think here in the US, it's pretty much accepted that males are hairy, period. But for instance,
Yeah, but more than, genderization of the whole thing of about the mustache or anything, I consider that's very metaphorical, like the fact that that part of the body is actually located specifically in the mouth. I mean, it could have been located
oh yeah, well, I mean there is other stuff,
any
but
other
I'm
where,
just focusing on
so
the
any other
mustache.
place. But it
No,
was in the
I'm actually
mouth,
focusing on
okay?
the mustache just because if you look at it, and again, replacing the whole one with the other, the hair itself shouldn't be so abnormal, because even a perfect example of it,
Okay.
it's just hair growing around a hole in your body. So
Exactly.
and it looks
And it
very
does it.
very weird when presented to you in that way. So that is the core memory that I had from watching that movie is, oh wow, so you really went for it. And also the mouth is something a lot of people fixate on when you're even just talking, getting to know somebody, because of the lips, the teeth, whatever. And
Exactly.
just to change it so drastically, to me that set the whole tune for everything. That was okay, this is it. This is what we're doing right now.
Yeah. No, but specifically with that character, I felt like there was a whole metaphor behind that, because it's actually notice that even though there is a cavity for expressing, she couldn't express very well. Okay, so she was silenced. Okay, at some point.
I mean, imagine body functions coming out of that hole. That's all you need to imagine. So
Imagine the body working as it worked
as intended.
normally. All right. But then there is the other side. Okay. So where is her mouth? You know? So basically, what this director did was just an unusual collocation of body parts.
Which let's face it, could perfectly happen with a genetical mutation. It could just happen at any moment. So
Yeah. You
and the
know,
worst part is that
the
person would be stigmatized by society.
the 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 interesting part of this movie is that everything you see can happen and has actually happened with many of the cases of the characters, you know?
And again, these instances are easily applicable to things that are commonplace in real life.
Exactly.
That is the very big lesson you need to take away. Well, you don't need to, but what the lesson the director is intending to teach you via this movie. It's very entertaining. It's very
Yeah.
artistic because that's also human
Extremely
activity.
artistic. I
Mhm.
mean, the color palette varies from very pastel shades of purple to pink. Those are the two main colors of the movie.
Mhm.
Okay. And actually, I guess, the purpose was to soften a little bit to contrast.
Exactly. I was
That
gonna say
fact.
not even softening, just to make the contrast because it's such a
Exactly.
drastic
Yes.
contrast. Contrast. Everything looks so the images of the characters of the main characters. It's so harsh and it just it's bizarre to look at it. Again, it's not common, and the
Exactly.
colors just make it look try to make it look soft and welcoming, and then you have
Exactly.
this image shown to
Why?
you.
And you see these characters portrayed at a world that particularly looks so beautiful to the side of the viewer and to the side of how us viewers have been
This
sort
preconceived
of indoctrinated to
expectation.
perceive as
Mhm.
beautiful. Okay, to perceive as beautiful, because if you change the color palettes, let's suppose you fool around with other two colors like brown and blue, it would have looked terrifying, maybe. Okay, but that was not the purpose of a movie, because this is not a horror movie. Okay, so I mean, this is a movie that pretty well deserves to be watched and analyzed at any course at the university. Okay, maybe at psychology, sociology, or anything that has to do with societal behavior, or that kind of subject. All right, but the point is, more, I mean, beyond that, is main human behavior and perception of beauty. Okay, and how we are indoctrinated to perceive beauty as well. Okay, and as well, we are indoctrinated to behave towards what we consider different. Okay, and there comes the other characters. I know you started by this character, but actually from the very beginning there is an old lady who is actually very elegant and very beautiful, but at the same time she is clothes less. So and he portrays that, like, the beginning. And what intensifies the most these 10 minutes is that the fact of this lady working at the place she works and offering the services she works with, okay? Because actually she was not offering the services. I mean, she had a whole bunch of people working for her, okay?
Mhm.
And this is, one of the most delicate parts of the movie. And again, it's
It's
the
handled
very
delicately.
it's the very first 10 movies. Probably if we talk about that, as we usually talk about movies, we probably get banned or, you know, we disappeared from social media after this. So we'd rather not. At least allow us to make at least 10 episodes.
Then you can kick us out. It's fine. We'll go back to
Exactly,
being crass.
exactly. But we don't want to make it that explicit with this movie. Okay, it's very delicate, but again, all of you guys are pretty well invited to catch this movie on Netflix because actually it's on Netflix. So
It's still on Netflix, yes. And Manuela, but
exactly.
please, I challenge you to tell me the stories that are told in this movie without
Well, well,
without actually being too explicit. I challenge you.
okay, you're gonna make me sweat. I'm getting hot in this winter.
Exactly, because okay, that's also the important part. When you leave the when when you remove these uh not the taboo parts, but what's expected not to be openly discussed. The stories are actually very relatable, very simple, because the whole point is not
Very
necessarily for
common.
you
I mean,
to again, it's societal situations where there's
yes,
to be discrimination based on your appearance.
physical appearance, exactly.
That's simple.
Physical appearance, okay? And how these characters can overcome some situations, others simply not, okay? So there they are, okay? So the story begins, as I told you before, with this old lady who is talking to a guy, a man, who's actually nervous by requesting some services. Okay. Uh, for the first time
Leaving
in
his
the
room,
place.
very nervous.
Very nervous. Okay. And the only thing that makes him justify himself is the fact that he wants to protect his own child. And as a matter of fact, this woman uh, tries to convince him not to feel any bad because at some point it is preferable to save the life of some people by exposing the life of others.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay? And these others have particular characteristics. Okay? We are talking about the next character to come, whose name is Laura, by the way, and she's blind, but she's blind not because of sickness, it's because she doesn't have eyes to see. Okay. Um, Among other types of people that you can figure out just because the woman is presenting a catalog of the people he can select to request these services. Okay? And I can't tell you more about that.
I mean, people, use your brains. You're right now. Do not play brand new.
I mean, yeah, of course. But Laura comes next, okay? At the beginning as a child, okay? And suddenly after they present Laura the way she is, the movie jumps to the future, okay? And now she's an adult, all right? And by being an adult, there are other things that start happening. the most particular thing about this direction is that all of these stories interlace at some point. Okay, so they are particularly related by a little part
A
of that
small element.
long
Yes,
thread of
exactly.
life.
They
Okay,
don't really clash, but there are elements that get them all into, again, again, they're just related. It doesn't necessarily have to be a big a consequence, or a relationship of big consequence. Just they are related.
but that's something we as viewers might interpret as the natural connections we have in life. And the thing about, if you think you have a problem, girl, there are many people who have problems just like you and just like yours. Okay, so
And most importantly, as a society, even the smallest things that affect you
yes,
can also can echo and have an even bigger effect on other people.
on other
So maybe,
people.
and just that small interaction can derive into something much bigger.
Exactly.
Because let's face it, we're in a society. You're not isolated, so everything that you do will have an effect on those around you. Maybe, of course, if you're mindful, that effect will not be as strong or as big on others. But yes, you're not an island. And that's, again, this is already becoming somewhat political, but those people who tend to think that they can do whatever with no
Mhm.
consequence, don't be a fool. Of course there are consequences. Anything that you do, if you
There
have
are
people around you.
always
Because
consequences.
if you for real live
And
isolated by
even
yourself,
even if you
possible.
have the best intentions, you consider there are consequences. Okay.
What
For
is it?
example, this
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
exactly. And we can see that with this guy who requests these services because this child eventually grows up and turns into Christian, who is one of the characters that has body dysphoria, you say? Dysphoria, yes. And he just doesn't want to have his legs because of a reason, okay? And that reason you will discover when you
I'm
watch
watching
the
the
movie.
movie.
And it brings as a consequence the hatred of his own mother, okay? Because one of the reasons this father left that home was the fact that he wanted to protect this child. What the mother doesn't know is the reason why he wanted to protect him from. Okay? So, again, all of these stories are interlaced. I'm making my best effort not to mention anything that will make.
Yeah, because this is also the kind of movie that, I mean, not necessarily, but once you've watched it once, pretty much the whole thing is spoiled, and the whole intent is for you
Exactly.
to actually like it. For the common viewer,
Mm-hmm.
like the average people,
Yes.
would not watch this movie multiple times. We are crazy and we're obsessed with these kind of movies. So yes, well, I've only
And
watched it
I could,
twice. I'll
again, I
be,
could have any of the frames on my wall to
well, no, don't get
watch
me,
it every
look,
day while drinking coffee in the mornings.
yes, exactly. No, visually speaking, it is a work of art. And again, this does not come as a read. Don't get me wrong, viewers. Do not be judgmental. But in my eyes,
Exactly.
this movie, this director, his style, at least for this movie, I'll admit I have not watched anything else from him. It is a mix between Almodovar and, visually speaking, Almodovar and, I don't know what,
Wes
Lars von Trier.
Anderson, maybe.
Huh? And
Wes
Lars von,
Anderson also.
and a touch of Wes Anderson because of the colors. It,
Yes.
Yeah, and the framing, some of the framing, but the storytelling to me, it read Almodovar. It's just and the stories
Definitely.
themselves. Yes,
Yeah.
it's like and you can tell. And this is a young director also,
Yeah.
so
It's what
I'm not saying he's imitating it. He actually did his own thing, and to me, this is the biggest compliment. I
exactly.
think because I love all of these directors. So if you're
And
doing this,
honey, if
look.
this was the first one, I cannot
Exactly.
imagine about
Where else to
the
go
rest.
from here? You're already doing the thing. You're already eating no crumbs. So
Exactly.
what else? Where
Yeah,
can you go? This is it. I would be, I don't know, speechless if I ever came even close to doing something like this.
exactly.
Um but yes, I mean that's our sport. We love uh I was gonna say disintegrate, but no. Breaking down movies to a molecular level and analyze every bit of it. That's what we do, and not for the show. Like we would already do this with everything. So
You
we
know
might
what?
as well just try to make a show out of it.
That's another interesting point reflected on the movie. How the otherness or that weird characteristic of certain people makes other fetishized about this. Oh, that's weird. That's interesting. And I feel sexually attracted, you know?
Which is a very basic instinct, but it is true.
But
It
it
is.
is true.
And
Exactly.
even worse, people who tend to have those emotions, they hide them. This is it, it's also very ironic. People are ashamed of their
I know, but the funniest
sexuality.
part is the mother having a heart attack just because just because the guy likes an ugly woman.
But okay, wouldn't this happen? Like, but Laura, let's face it, in our society
It
where we come
reminded
from,
me of my own mother, sorry.
exactly where we come from, this is I know maybe for some audiences that is actually extreme, because
Yeah.
I will say it in here in the US, I think that kind of mentality is more expected in high society, not so much in middle class or anything. But look, we're Latinos. This is everybody will react that way, because even if I don't know, whoever, the mother, the father, are ugly, they would tell their children, you cannot be with ugly people. The
Exactly.
trauma is livid.
Oh my God, she's ugly. How
Oh,
can you do this to
oh,
me?
I, why didn't you just rob somebody? Why are you ending up with somebody like this? Exactly. That's how it is.
I
So
prefer you to be a robber rather than
why are
getting
you doing
married with
this
an
to me?
ugly woman, you know?
Why are you ruining the family? You should look for
Exactly.
better genes and
And if
etc.
it's not because he or she is ugly, it's because, oh, he or she is poor. He or she didn't go to university. He or she, whatever. Okay? So, yes, I mean, the worst parts and the biggest slap on the face with this movie is that we have been in the places of at least one of these characters, and we have observed how we have been also victims of society as well.
I
Okay?
also think that's exactly why it's so important. And all of the characters are important,
Yes.
because if the director had focused on just one, the relatability would have decreased. Instead, by
Yes.
portraying these very different characters, all with one thing in common, the the body change, the body parts being changed or lacking or whatever, uh, that's what actually makes the viewer. There is one theme throughout
Yeah.
the entire movie, that there is something that unites all of them. Um, the same topic is being treated from many different aspects,
Yes.
and at the same time, you can include even more experiences in these stories, so that the viewer, one way or the other, because that's another thing, that all viewers are not going to relate to all of the different characters, but there is a way. But again, there's always this extra feeling with one of them. So that's also the intent of the director, I think.
And very important. At the beginning, you might see these characters as monstrous. In the middle of the movie, they are victims. And at the end of the movie, they are victimizers.
Which also happens.
So, I mean, and again, it's a very
Complex.
it's a very complex way to tell you you're not only one thing, okay? So don't believe you are good just because you do good things. At some point, you will do bad, and you will do
No,
really bad.
and even if you at some point you are a victim and you didn't learn from it,
Exactly.
that's how it happens. A lot of people don't really internalize the experience they went through, and quite the opposite, they just become traumatized, and then from that trauma they start discriminating exactly because of the same reason, which is
Exactly.
actually the same example I provided earlier. If I don't know, my father or mother, they're ugly, and they don't want me to be with somebody ugly. Clearly, they went through some traumatizing experiences, but they didn't realize, oh, that I'm not the problem. The fact that I'm ugly is not the problem. The problem is the other people judging me based on this, and,
Exactly.
and they are actually acting on it. The lesson they learned is, oh, you cannot be ugly. So where does that leave you? You shouldn't exist. Oh, because you're ugly. And
And believe me, Freddy, I've seen so many people basing.
somebody will cut this and use it as a commercial for plastic surgery.
Now
Yes,
your
people, if you're
Google
ugly, go and
algorithm
get
will
surgery.
show you all
That will be
surgeries
our viral
possible.
moment. Not the actual intent. Somebody will just cut, mix our conversation, and just say, this is exactly why you need plastic surgery.
Exactly. Not only that, only because of the name of the movie, Skins, you will probably have some skincare commercials surrounding your algorithm.
Exactly. YouTube will work. They won't be doing much work. As soon as they see it, like, oh, skincare. Oh, they're talking about
Yeah.
body dysmorphia, plastic surgery. There you go. Oh, a hole in the mouth. Oh, okay. Now here you go. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. But again, the thing is that independent from the fact that this movie has all that controversy behind, I guess, again, it's a way to portray an evolution's critical thinking, okay? So evolutions that at this point no one knows about that movie, even when it is on Netflix, you know? So no one talks about it, no one
Oh,
mentions anything
yes.
about it.
Okay.
So it's like
That's the thing. I mean, let's face it. People like us, and when I say people like us, I mean people with
weirdo.
very exquisite tasting movies. Because I'm not going to say there is no other people with good taste, but
Whatever.
Marla, you and I have really good taste. And when I say good, I mean complex.
Complex.
So
Yes.
uh, it's we're not as loud. Our voices do not tend to be as loud because
Yeah.
generally what grabs the attention of most moviegoers is, the latest action movie, the latest horror movie, which there is nothing wrong about it, but at the same time,
Exactly, and I could watch, but I don't get that immersed in the message as these other type of movies. Okay?
well, I mean, what message is there in a Transformer movie? Just having fun, seeing stuff destroy itself, which is
Yeah,
fine.
but for
There is a
example, in
motivating
my
line.
case, I'm a graphic designer and I like watching, special effects, CGI, and all those
Exactly.
visuals,
There is a time and a place for those kind of movies, but I think
Exactly.
you and that's why we're united in this project. We are aware. some other movies are very much deserving of attention. And here we are trying to
That's
sell
the
you
reason why
someone else's product.
I bring this topic of timing for this movie, because even though we are in an era where we have all these access to communication, all these internet connections, and all this information running around our lives, it seems that society is now kind of
I mean,
obscuring some topics.
the algorithm revolves around the same
Well,
thing.
viewers, Freddy, the thing is that nowadays, with this bunch of information, we should be informed. And not
Wow,
judge.
thank
I mean,
you.
uh, my recommendation to any viewer, because I know, guys, when you watch this movie, you will feel like, oh my God, this is too much. Try to at least
We've done.
uh,
Ah, well, okay. No. Keep going. I'm thinking it's not that, yeah, it's not about profound or complexity. It's the shock. Yeah, the shock value in it.
exactly, it's a shock, but try to keep uh watching at least the first 10 minutes, and after that you would say, wow, this
Well,
is worth to
I
continue
will
watching.
say, for you to fully be able to, give an opinion on any movie, you have to watch the whole thing
Yeah.
because some movies recontextualize everything like after the half or close to the end. So it is important for you to watch the whole thing. Otherwise, it's like again like judging a book by its cover. It's you're not going through it. You have to do the whole thing and then
Yeah.
fully express your opinion. Otherwise, it could be inaccurate.
Unless it's a gore movie and you can't stand it, as me, for example. I can't. But
You've gore movies. It's not your preference, but you've watched them.
yeah, but not all of them. I mean, for example, this one, the Texas,
Chainsaw Massacre.
oh, no.
No, but okay, that's different. That is its goal is to be gore. But you've watched movies with gore in them and you appreciate them for what they
Exactly.
are. So
Yeah.
that's fine.
I mean, maybe that combination of horror and gore is too much for a
It's
person like
much
me.
for you.
Yes.
Exactly, which is fine. I mean, you don't have to unless I put it in the list of movies to analyze.
You're gonna be the only one making that show,
No,
that
I won't make
episode.
it. I'll just say, oh,
You talking to yourself.
because somebody is it it's a coward.
I mean, I can talk about that movie, but I can't watch it again. And believe me, I
Well, that's
watched
fine.
that movie.
Okay, but that's enough. You already watched it, so that's good enough. I can take that. You watched it.
Yeah, I did.
Back
I
to
did.
topic. Where I'm drifting. Maria Laura, any last words for this movie? What
Watch
it?
it.
Yes, surprise.
Watch it. Watch it because it's pretty worth watching it. Uh, I know I can easily understand people who feel shocked. I mean, I have friends who I told them to watch that, and they
What have
simply
they said?
couldn't.
I
They couldn't. They told me, no, 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 this is too much. I can't. I can't
how
continue.
many friends? Like two, three, four.
Freddie, too. I don't have that many friends.
Freddy, you're one of them.
I mean, I can count my friends with one hand.
No, okay. Um, I'm surprised. Again, my just from the fact that I learned of this movie from my mother-in-law is just a speech. I'm a speechless. I that alone
But
deserves it.
that's actually one of the things I like about streaming. It's the fact that, now people have like a bunch of possibilities to see something out of the common, okay? Not necessarily what they are used to, okay? So maybe that's the reason why your mother-in-law encountered this movie and started to watch it, and she told you about it, okay?
I
And she liked
remember
it.
correctly. No, she has this tendency to start watching everything and then leave it like one quarter and then stop. Oh, I'm not into this, and she'll keep on swapping. So she
Okay.
never ends up anything. She never finishes anything. But that one, I think it was so shocking that she was like, "Okay, I need to finish this." She didn't like it, but she did say, "Oh, this
Funny.
is
I mean, that's
going
exactly
great."
the feeling. I mean, you feel there is something that makes you feel really uncomfortable, but you don't want to stop
You
watching. I
keep
mean,
watching.
you're
Yes,
like covering
because
your eyes like this, like, like I
so
need to
that's
continue.
human nature of the morbid. Something is making you uncomfortable, and yet you're just watching. Exactly that same emotion. Like, oh my god, I cannot watch.
Oh my God, this is too
Oh my
much.
god, please stop! I cannot. Oh my god, so horrible. Yeah.
I'm hungry, but I can wait.
All right. So
Yes.
thank you everybody for watching. This was Let's Go Movie Talk. No, Let's Go Movie Talk.
Yeah, let's go movie talks.
I mean, there's no let's. Uh, this was Go Movie Talks. Again, what's the name of the movie? Skins, Pieles. This is actually a Spanish
Yes.
movie.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Spaniard from Spain.
It's
So
Eduardo Casanova. It's
yes, yeah,
the
no, I remember the last name. Um,
the young boy because he's actually a child.
yes, he is a child. So
And a
clearly,
model, an actor of
we should be
whatever you can think of.
should expect more for him, more
Yeah.
from him. Do watch him. If you have Netflix, please do yourself a favor and watch this movie. And we insist, if you don't like it, let us know in the comments why you didn't like it. It's perfectly fine, but watch it. The important thing is, if you're gonna judge something and be judgmental about it, at least give it a try. Otherwise, you're just being judgmental with preconceived ideas. That is a no-no in this channel.
Definitely. And that slam door you listened to meanwhile Freddy was talking, it was my neighbor. Someday when I become famous doing this show, my neighbor will know. I'm so pissed off about that.
That's how petty we are. Yes.
Yeah. People watch it, and remember, um, out of everything, it is very important for us to get to know your opinions about the movie, about how we can actually incorporate other movies you like. Okay, we are open to listen to your suggestions. Okay, and your suggestions can be whatever you like. I mean, no
Make
problem
it
if it is.
fun. We want to hear, the movie nobody's ever watched. That's what we want to hear. Uh, but again, if you come up with the most commercial thing ever and we
If
haven't
we
watched
come
it,
up with
we can still do
Titanic,
it.
we will talk about Titanic for sure. Okay, so
Titanic is good. I'm sorry.
well, but I'm referring to Titanic as a very commercial movie. Freddy, shut up. Okay, people. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Comment, like, and subscribe and share. Thank you very much.
Thank
Love you.
you.
Keep on watching movies with Go Movie Talks.
Bye bye.
Thanks for watching. Go Movie Talks.